Hello, my fellow readers. This is Dark Symphony 777 with another fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the thought. I'm tongue-tied today. I'm tongue-tied today. On your thoughts to the video, and finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, the story I'm doing a review on is The Bad Girl Lives at You by Gimme Shelter. It is a No More Heroes fan fiction. It is a 4-part No More story, so I'm technically going to be reviewing all 4 stories at once. Gotta cover my bases and all that. Now, you're wondering, what is No More Heroes? Well, No More Heroes is a was a Wii exclusive game created by Grasshopper Manufacturers and also Suda51 about a character named Travis Touchdown, a otaku assassin who basically wants to climb up the UAA, or otherwise known as the United Assassins Association, in order to simultaneously get laid and also avenge the death of his parents by his half-sister who he dated. It was really weird. Fun fact. Yeah, fun fact, the entire backstory of Gene was actually purposely sped up so that way it doesn't get an adult only rating because of how twisted it is. Yeah, that's a funny thing. But the entire story revolves around is basically a deconstruction of anti-heroes. Travis Touchdown is a very lonely individual. The entire city of Santa Destroy is a very empty place. It's a very weird sort of clash of styles that somehow come together and work really well. What does it have to do with the story? Technically it does, technically it doesn't. Here's the thing. This story revolves around a character by the name of Charlotte Birkin, otherwise known as Bad Girl, the second-ranked member of the UAA in the original No More Heroes. Charlotte Birkin is something of a crazy individual, and this story kind of plays on that in a sort of retroactive way. So, before I actually get into the review, I need to actually show a clip from her boss fight. It kind of showing her whole spiel because it's actually needed context for what I'm about to say afterwards.
This is insane!
Phew! What a day. I need a drink. So fucking thirsty. Hold on a sec. Damn, that's smooth. I feel alive again. Want a drink?
I'll pass.
Pop quiz. Why am I such an angry bitch? Seriously, no matter how many I kill, it's all the same. They're all going to pay. Yeah, with their fucking lives.
You're a bad girl.
You have no right to look at me like that. It's just a job. The daily grind.
You're no assassin. You're just a perverted killing maniac.
In essence, they're the same. Don't go on thinking you're better than me. You think you're hot shit. Who the fuck do you think you are? Come on!
That was the opening cutscene leading into her boss fight. Why did I bring this up? Because of how the story works. Charlotte was actually debuted in the first game and dies in the first game. The issue is, she became so widely popular among the fan base that Suda51 felt no choice, at least in my opinion, he kind of felt no choice, but to capitalize on that popularity and try and find a way to bring her back. Hence why we got Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, which is an interlingual between the events of No More Heroes 2 and No More Heroes 3. The plot for this game involves Bad Man, the father of Bad Girl, who's trying to get revenge on Travis for her death, and then they end up working together to try and revive Bad Girl. This is the needed context that was needed for that and why I showed the cutscene, because in order for this story to work, the author needs to have known. Not only does the author need to know this context, but so do the readers as well. This is a story that requires context, otherwise you're going to get completely confused over what's going on and why Bad Girl's acting the way she is. It's this context that is essential if you want to know more about specific what happens in this game. Honestly, just watch a bunch of cutscenes because I haven't played this game yet. Going back to the story, what is the plot? The plot is actually starts out like normal in the game. In essence, it's a written version of the actual cutscene that I showed you, just until right until after they start fighting. Travis inadvertently mentions the word paradise. I don't know the full context, but I believe paradise is a trigger word referring to Charlotte's backstory. Not 100% sure. I should play Travis Tricks again. I have the entire series on Steam, so I can play it. I just have chosen not to yet. So, after inadvertently mentioning paradise, Charlotte kind of goes into a for you and kind of mentally shuts off and breaks down. Travis, completely caught off guard, doesn't know what to do. So he tries to like kind of wing it, I guess, until Sylvia's little henchman, who kind of clean up the body and all that, show up. They kind of ask him what's going on because they haven't even fought yet, and then they decide to grant the winner, grant Travis, the rank and the victory due to a forfeit on Charlotte's part. And since, well, what you mean she's not gonna die? I mean, she kind of gave up, so we haven't really thought of something like this before, so we'll just give you the rank. There you go. Goodbye. And they leave. This leaves Travis with a conundrum to do. He has a broken girl, and he doesn't know what to do. He thinks back to Holly Summers, who was the sixth ranked member of the UAA, who he tried to help, but because of the way the UAA rankings work, if anyone loses, they have to die no matter what. Such is a life of an assassin. So, with this unexpected opportunity, Travis decides to go and continue what he said to Holly, and the fact that if something like that he would try and help someone like this. So he offers Charlotte a sort of way out. They eventually start arguing because, of course, they do. That's kind of their dynamic in these stories. They just argue a lot. Have fun with it, and and there we go. There's a story that's more or less the comprised version of all four stories. Usually, they argue, so there's something that leads into the argument, something happens after the argument. Bad girl inadvertently just ends up living with Travis as like a unofficial roommate, mainly because she's a cat person and she really just loves Travis's pet cat. It's like, oh, you kitty, oh, you good kitty, oh, you kitty, oh, you kitty. Which is fine. I don't have a complaint with that. It's fun. It's meant to be somewhat humorous. I don't really have an issue with the plot. With this story, this happens a little bit after the events of the first story. By a girl, after a sort of assassination job is successful, she's wandering around. She finds a park with a baseball diamond. She got things back to her father, bad man, and she sees a body of a boy kind of collapsed onto the ground. She talks to him. He finds out the boy's been getting bullied because he wants to try and learn how to play baseball, but kind of sucks at it if he's trying to get better. So Charlotte tries to go, you know what? I'm going to help you. She deals with her bully problem. Granted, the bully comes back later in the story, and then Travis and Charlotte kind of team up and just kill him in like the most humorous way possible. Home run! Just treat him like a tennis ball, and they just hit him between them, and then just like, okay, we're done with him, and then Charlotte just bashes his head in. Such is the life of an assassin. But It's more or less the same. It's just bad girl wants to be a good friend and say, I'm going to teach you how to play baseball and all that. And he eventually the boy does eventually get better and actually joins the Little League team. Third story, this one kind of takes place after Travis beats Gene. Granted, Henry doesn't show up yet because I don't know if Henry's going to show up. Kind of ambiguous. Charlotte, after warning Travis in the second story that if you're doing this all to get laid, I have a feeling you're probably gonna get had. And guess what? Travis gets had. It's like, yeah, about that sex. Nope, you ain't getting sex. Nuh-uh. Oh, and the UAA never existed. I just stole all your money, bitch. And Travis is completely depressed. Charlotte basically tries to cheer him up in her own way. They get into a little argument, but they eventually come to an understanding that they are more alike than they thought, especially when Travis kind of tells Charlotte about his backstory, or the real reason why he joined the UAA, in essence to get revenge on the killer of his parents. And then finally, the story is more or less just a little compilation of many little conversations that also involve Shinobu Jacobs, the former rank 8 boss of the member of the UAA, who Travis kind of let go because he's like, yeah, I may be a killer, but I am not killing a teenager. But instead, I'll just cut your arm off. Here you go. And she kind of has and Shinobu shows up, wants to get teachings from Travis because somehow she thinks Travis is like the super awesome samurai ninja teacher thing, and Travis is like completely confused, like, all right, I gotta make this shit up all I go along then. Leading to like random situations where Charlotte and Travis are trying to just random conversations, even leading to a very hilarious moment where like, all right, I got a plan. What's the plan? Charlotte, get the chainsaw. I'm sorry, you what? It's like, you're putting a chainsaw, but it's like, come on, you're supposed to work under pressure. You have a chainsaw above my head. So it works. You're figuring out you're breaking a lock faster, right? Holy shit, you're right. Quick, get the chainsaw close to me. I said, I don't want you to die. No, don't do it. Don't do it, Charlotte. He said not to do it. And that's more or less the plot. They're not really complicated plots. They're not deep plots. They are just simple conversation pieces. And for conversation pieces, they're good. They're not great because there's only like as an upper limit you can get with a conversation piece as you can get. But in the realm of conversation pieces, I think they're fine. They're not they're perfectly serviceable. There's nothing really outstanding about them, but I wouldn't say there's quite literally anything bad with it. And really, the only issues I have are for grammar. But before we get to the grammar, let's get to the characters. Really, the only characters we need to talk about are Charlotte Birkin and Travis Touchdown. Both of these characters, I think, are really well written and ultimately pretty fun. Now, in terms of characters, we have Travis, who's actually really well done, as well as Charlotte, who is really well done. They don't really get a lot of character development, mainly because the story more focuses on character depth rather than character development. And I think in terms of this, it is a knowledge really well done. You do get a sense of camaraderie going through them as the story goes along, as they still hate each other, but it stops becoming less acidic and more kind of be like very bitey, like between like two friends who like to grill each other all the time. It has that really silly, over the top sibling rivalry dynamic that honestly makes these two characters really well done. They're not really spectacular, but in the context of the story, they are as well done as they can. It's just there's not really much to talk about because mainly because when I talk about characters, I more focus on character development rather than character depth. And really, in order to understand the depth for Bad Girl, you need to actually watch the cutscene you need to get her backstory from Travis Strikes Back. Again, that one's out of my hands, so I can't really do much about it. But for what it's worth, I think these are good. All four stories get a really well done sense of fun and that only No More Heroes can really provide. Grammar, on the other hand, there are two big issues when it comes to grammar and also the writing style. And that is one, these weird instances where the author just randomly makes sentences or even parts of sentences just randomly just randomly italic. Now I understand now. Got ahead of my thought because I was about to burp. Now I understand there is a place for italics in writing. However, most of the times are when you see italics, you usually think of a person is thinking something to basically describe what someone is going when you get a piece into someone's mind. And also italics have a way of kind of creeping into something like information. Like if someone's reading a dossier or information from like a psychology exam, something like that, you use italics to describe the information so that way it sticks into your mind better. This is not that. This is just random sentences just randomly italicized for no reason. Like here, okay, that's fine. It's meant to establish a title because at this point in time, Travis doesn't know that, well, Bad Girl's real name is Charlotte Birkin, and also this is a nod to the actual game itself, where every time when they're about to fight a boss, there's usually a sort of silhouette that comes along when you enter their area, and you get an introduction to their name, like I don't know, like when you get to Bad Girl, you see it becomes monochrome, and you get a extended a voice saying Bad Girl, and then you get the caption card before you go into level to show you who you're going against. In essence, this is supposed to be a nod to that, which is fine. I'm fine with bad like this right here being italicized. Everything else is just randomly just random. Like if this is like a thought. I guess this is like a thought bubble, but again, it's just yeah. See, like right here, he's using it correctly, but then there are other times where it's just random placement. I don't know why. It happens throughout all four stories. Like yeah, like right here. It's just what the hell? This word second is like randomly italicized. Why? I guess to emphasize the second, but it really kind of comes off as off-putting. The other major thing is something to do with pronouns. For some reason, the author likes to switch between when it comes to talking about Travis, like when he said he said something like that, or Bad Girl saying she said or something like that. The author randomly switches from he or slash she to they. And that's just really confusing. This is more prevalent in the second story specifically, in regards to the boy that Charlotte finds. Charlotte would just randomly call him he or something like that, and then the pros would just randomly start calling him they. And it's really confusing, and it's really distracting whenever I came across it because it's just how out of place it is. But other than those two, there's not really much in the way of grammar. In terms of pacing, I think it's like just a brisk pace. It's just nothing fast about it, except for like the fight at the end of the second story. That's really the only fast paced thing. But it's just kind of like a brisk jog of a pace. It's nothing really. It's meant to convey the whole sense of these are just a bunch of just random scenarios that just casually happen, and shouldn't look deeper into that. I think the pacing's done well. I think the characters done well. The plot is done well, as well as something like this could be. Would I recommend it? As much as I would want to recommend, and honestly, I really do. the problem is this requires such a specific scenario on context that to most people I can't recommend, because you need that specific knowledge. Like, this is not like, oh, you need to know about normal heroes in general. No, you need to know a specific knowledge about a specific character that's only shown in a specific game that I believe is optional, so you can miss it. Granted, it is easier to just go on YouTube and look it up, so it's not too obvious, but a lot of people just openly probably not even care. Something like that. But, okay, so to most people, I would recommend it. To people who know the context or No More Heroes fans, I would actually recommend this. It's not an amazing story. It's not an adventure story. It's just a funny little quirky, like, interesting conversation piece. And I think that's all it's trying to be. So yeah, I don't think it's bad. So that has been my review of the Bad Girls Lives AU by Gimme Shelter. I honestly think you did a good job, author. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.